Hello and welcome back to coverage of the Tencent LPL Summer here. It's week 4, day 3 in our third game here between LMQ and OMG. My name is Pastry John. I'm going to be joined in the broadcast by Papa Smithy. Papa, been a great week 4 so far of the LPL. As we count down the last few matches of today, what can we expect between LMQ and OMG?
I think OMG here are going to feel surprised that they're going to be potentially be able to open a 2-game advantage over Positive Energy. I mean, the last game was definitely a shocking result. You would never expect Young Glory to take down Positive Energy. Now OMG here, they're just thinking about opening up their lead and just building themselves a bit of a bed to sleep on at the top of the LPL.
I mean, OMG, as you said, absolutely on top of the LPL right now. The winners of the spring split in the last one, and of course doing very well here at the top of Summer so far as we're early on here through the LPL. The bans have come out here though. Nunu and Ari, the first two there from LMQ, Elise and Thresh over there for OMG.
Now the Yorick question comes out, Pastry Time.
Yes, it does. We've seen it before. Teams have started banning it. Saw it again. OMG picked up yet another win. And do LMQ want to ban it? No, they don't. They'll ban Zac here instead. I'd be curious to see what OMG decide to ban as their last ban here. They do, of course, not have first pick, but Kennen is the one they decide want to take that away from James. He's looked very, very good on Kennen when he's had it. And that, of course, opens up our next question of the LPL here, especially in this week. Is Twitch going to get first picked?
And look, it seems likely here. It'd be interesting to see what speed of OMG we've seen. We've seen aggressive pick style, or we've seen Jungle Yorick's slightly less aggressive pick style as Rise is the lock-in.
Yep, first pick Rise, they're coming out from LMQ, and that's another champion that's been fairly popular to pick up early, but of course that does leave the rat open there, so we'll see if OMG want to go for that. They've actually got Lee Sin kind of selected over here, which is curious, but be interested to see if what else they want to go for here. Actually, Renekton, I guess they're going to make the choice of maybe not. Maybe we'll have something a little different here from OMG. This was something we got the treat of seeing in our opening game of week 3 when we started our coverage here.
As a blind pick, it's really interesting though, Pastry Time. I mean, we've seen Syndra's bait and switch into support. Pantheon early would have been surprising, but Ezreal's the final lock.
And this is really surprising to me here from OMG. Ezreal's locked in. Going to go with Lee Sin as well here. Doesn't seem like any of the champions that OMG have really been playing in the last few weeks are getting picked up.
They seem to want the Twitch pick to come out of LMQ.
Yeah, it almost feels like a bait. I mean, they had the option to pick it. Almost any team would happily pick that one up there. I mean, maybe LMQ just don't play Twitch. I can't imagine that's the thing here. Everyone seems to play Twitch. But Jarvan and Nami are actually maybe going to be the picks here from LMQ. Yeah, there they are, Jarvan and Nami.
So they want to roll out a solo laner from the OMG picks here. Blitzcrank, the Big Pomelo special might be coming out. Yep, it's locked in.
I mean, at this point, Big Pomelo just kind of always plays Blitzcrank, it feels like. He's done very, very well on it when he's had the opportunity to pick it, and it just seems like his team's confident in him picking it. Even someone like Ezreal, who just doesn't combo that well with Blitz, happy to take it here anyway, just because his presence in lane is so strong. He always manages to get aggressive and really zone out whoever he's laning against, and of course, just in general, his mechanics are fantastic on Blitz, and he always seems to pull OMG through with their picks. I mean, that's the thing. Everyone knows OMG is the Freight Train team, right? They go through, use their ultimates, get pick-offs, and play really aggressively and try and take out objectives. Big Pomelo just kind of gets to be a one-man Freight Train as Blitzcrank.
But I do like the picks coming out from LMQ here. No one really to hook barring that Vayne, and you have to think Vayne's going to be nowhere near a Blitzcrank in any sort of engage, as everyone else here on the LMQ side, theoretically, will be super tanky or able to have that CC to initiate a fight.
Yeah, and when we haven't seen Twitch, we've usually seen Vayne, and especially with that tumble, as you noted, getting out of the way of that rocket grab makes a lot of sense here. The LMQ are going to be happy with their pick. I mean, Nami's kind of the only grab target, but even that's not too bad. You can kind of flash out and pop an acquisition on yourself, or at least, if you're going in, you can hope your team follows up and then throw out a tidal wave before you die. Fingers crossed that all works out well. OMG, I guess they picked Lee Sin early, so not going to see that Yorick here, but we may go back to Renekton here as well for going. He's looked really, really strong on that champion, and we will, in fact, go there. So, bit different here from OMG from what we've been seeing in the last few days of play, but I'm sure they're happy with it. I mean, Lee Sin, for whatever reason, maybe it's his week in the LPL. We had Blitzcrank week, it seems like, on the first day of week 3, and now it almost feels like we're going to have Lee Sin, because that's twice now we've seen Lee Sin come out again. It seems like maybe they're reverting back to that really heavy, really pressure gank-oriented junglers.
I think the one thing you can say about OMG's team here is they have a lot of skirmish potential, and much like the Positive Energy comp that we thought would get outscaled by Invictus Gaming in that match, they have a lot of mobility. So, I mean, with the Blitzcrank pick there, I think that's just OMG saying we're confident that we'll always have those early turret advantages, and we just want to get picks. I mean, picks are OMG's comfort food, basically. So that's where they're always at here. And I mean, the comp only has those 2 true damage threats, but very, very strong in a 2v2 setting.
Yeah, I mean, if OMG can play this as well as PE played it, then it'll look really, really good here. And you have to think OMG, they always seem to know what they're doing when they make their picks. They, pick a little offbeat sometimes. Sometimes we have support Twisted Fate. Sometimes we have Pantheon. Sometimes we have all sorts of funkiness.
Yorick jungle.
Yeah, Yorick jungle, why not? And then it gets banned in the next 4 games or whatever against them. But OMG, they definitely pick and play with intent. They're not the best team in the LPL by some sort of fluke just because they play crazy things. They know what they're doing when it comes, and they've clearly, not picked Twitch, not picked some of the other champions you've seen them play for a reason here on the final day of Week 4. And that's probably the funniest thing to me, is that teams seem to have a fairly dramatic shift in not even just how they're playing in terms of whether they're doing well or not well, but just in terms of playstyle. Over these 3 days, we've seen very different teams each time they've had a different matchup.
I agree with you, Patreon, but I think OMG are the most predictable in terms of you can always guarantee that they'll play Season 3 Meta League of Legends, which means they will always go for picks into objectives. They are the most objective-based team of anyone in the LPL, and that's got them all those victories.
I mean, and that kind of makes sense, right? If their philosophy is, as the red buff spawns up here, I'm going to pick that one up, sorry, but it makes sense, right? If it doesn't really matter what you play as long as the philosophy of the way you're playing is strong in and of itself, and that's certainly true of OMG.
Absolutely.
So we'll see what happens now. Looks like Xiaoleja are going to be in the mid up here against Cool. That's Karthus versus Orianna. We're going to have 4 people down the bottom there, and I have to think Vayne Nami is not happy to have a Blitzcrank in their lane.
Yeah, Vayne Nami heads up against Blitz Ezreal will have a lot of struggles, I have to say.
And if you're watching down the bottom lane, look for Big Pomelo to not only try and go for very nice grabs there, as he almost picks up Nami, but Big Pomelo likes to be really, really aggressive with his zoning in these 2v2 lanes. And a champion like Blitzcrank is very, very scary in a lot of those situations. So if it goes anything like the last time this happened with a Blitz in a 2v2 lane, then Sun should open up a very nice CS lead here up against Vayne, and really, given how fragile this bottom lane is for LMQ, you'd almost expect that to be the norm here for OMG.
I do like the fact that the camera's staying here, just because it's interesting to see them
get... grab there as well. Nami getting all in now. Ezreal hits level 2, and that's bad news for Nami. There's the flash forward for an auto attack. Ignite maybe going to do it, not quite there, but a lot of damage being done there for OMG. Exactly what they want there in the bottom lane.
And it's just interesting to see how he lanes Blitzcrank, because a lot of people actually struggle to get through laning phase with any sort of even neutrality, let alone an advantage with the Blitzcrank lane.
Big Pomelo has flash as well. He could make a big flash hook play here. I mean, look at LMQ. They lost the early trade at level 2, completely trapped at their turret right now. And Big Pomelo with the mini waves gone, San just happily sitting there, freezing the lane, trying to deny them out. They can't do anything. They absolutely can't do anything until the wave gets a little closer.
Absolutely, and it was a Sona lane last time we saw this, but the same result of a big CS advantage for the OMG AD carry San in a Blitzcrank.
Loveland level 4 as well, but gets caught out. He completely spotted as he walks past there. But thankfully, Big Pomelo is there. He's forced to flash and safeguard his way out there. But that was a very cute camp there by No Name on Jarvan. But pressure down the bottom now. Loveland's going to try and convert to a little more. The grab Koya picks up Avenger somehow, and there's the flash out for Vayne. Big Pomelo actually in trouble now as well. Got Aqua prisoned under turret there and took a few too many tower hits. But again, that grab, that man always seems to find the angle.
It's one of those things. It's his comfort zone. Blitzcrank is OMG's comfort zone, which is something that CJ enters Frost to mix up. Mad Life, of course, a very fantastic Blitzcrank player, but even Frost played Blitzcrank much more sparingly compared to OMG.
Yeah, I mean, Big Pomelo at this point almost seems like whenever he can afford to, he just plays it. And be curious to see, we've seen it before against Mad Life, as you mentioned, whether teams are going to want to start banning that blitz or not. And if you're a support player and you draw a banners up in the top lane here, it's going real deep here. It's going really wants to try and pick off Dreams. Ignite's traded back for both top laners there, but they're both going to walk away with a reasonable amount of health here, chugging down health potion. Dreams actually going to back all the way to town and try and get all his health back there.
And with a big Fury bar there, Renekton able to sustain up with his Q ability, so can actually stay in lane and gets the advantage and be able to push the minions down to the turret.
Yep, gonna AoE them down, push them towards the turret, and Ryze are gonna come back to lane with a tier of the goddess and a cloth armor, so not a bad start there for Dreams. Kinda happy to go back anyway and pick up that tier, but nice trade there up for Going. Is gonna get a little bit of a CS lead here. Actually, a reasonable one already. He's 13 CS or so ahead. And now Renekton, of course, gonna travel back to town himself, and we'll see what he wants to pick up here. Looks like No Name actually looking for a gank there. Cool. Little trouble there as a wall of pain comes out, but everyone's going to be okay. Just for now here, Renekton waiting for something there. There's a longsword coming out. Wonder if he's thinking about his next item as well. Kind of hanging around the shop, waiting for a little bit of gold. And there we are. Boots of speed is what he wants.
There's actually a long base there for Renekton. And we see Dreams up top trying to hold the wave as much as possible because, of course, that melee champion Renekton can't harass Dreams as effectively under turret.
Loveland actually walking up towards the top as well. I think maybe trying to set up for a lane gank. He's going to actually get into that top bit of brush there. And that's not a surprise that Dreams is expecting here. He's coming in. I mean, obviously freezing the lane here, good generally against the melee Renekton, as you pointed out, but if he ever pushes out, he's going to have a surprise Lee Sin there. And I can't imagine that's going to go well. In fact, Loveland, have to think, just waiting in. No Name down the bottom here as well. Also
trying to set up a reverse surprise.
Yep, was that Renekton going in? Ooh, never mind. Going. Thinks about it. Loveland very patient here on Lee Sin. Doesn't quite have level 6, so can't full combo him there. And No Name as well, also being patient here for that brush game.
Such a global mirror here.
It's funny that both junglers decided they wanted to gank opposite ends of the map. And No Name's going to back off first. Loveland's still there in the top lane, though. I think he wants to recall, but he's pretty committed at this point to this gank. Feels like he really wants to pick off Dreams. Oh, never mind, he's backing off.
No Name, though, he is the person who's waited the longest here. He really wants
still
this.
Here. Oh, I didn't notice. Hello, Javan. Just kind of very invisible there towards the top left. In fact, Sign now a little too far forward. Condemn there. Couldn't make it happen. There's a knockoff backward prison. And beautifully executed gank there, but a nice grab as well. The Requiem's going to pick up first blood there. No Name forced to flash out from under the turret as well.
But that was an obscene CC train there. The Condemn into the uncleansable knockup, into the bubble. So much CC. Well played, LMQ.
And Loveland gives up on his camp there towards the top. Dreams just too afraid here, really wanted to freeze this lane against Renekton. In fact, Renekton going back to base now as well. Decides that, you know what, I'm not really getting anywhere, I'm going to pick up a ward just in case. I just saw the bottom lane get ganked, I don't want that to happen to me. So he's just decided, you know, I'll pick up some more consumables here and make my way back here. Dreams not going anywhere with that wave. And No Name rewarded for his patience, though, you have to think down the bottom lane. That was, as you said, a very, very long camp.
It was about 2 to 2.5 minutes there, which, I mean, you always think about the opportunity cost as a jungler. You're always thinking, oh, I could have cleared about 3-4 camps in that time. But the reward is worth it. It tips the scales of this bottom lane matchup. Yeah,
and first blood going to Karthus as well, who managed to pick it up using his ultimate from the mid. He'll be happy with that. And now Karthus versus Orianna continues there. Slight CS lead there for Orianna, but nothing massive. It seems like they're just going to do their best to farm up as hard as they can there in the mid lane. Although, I have to expect Karthus, especially once he gets the first blue, which it looks like he's getting now, to really try and open up a farm lead soon.
And for once, no early turrets for Big Pomelo to be able to take advantage of that Blitzcrank ball pick.
Yeah, everything actually very stable here in a lot of these towers. I mean, OMG... Going tried to kind of push there and be aggressive, but I think Dreams has kind of figured that out and very nicely hugged the wave there and froze it in the appropriate spot. Cool now with the blue buff as well, going to battle Karthus for all the AoE farm, and maybe we'll see some damage down to mid, but as I kind of said, as your Blitz, part of the problem is that this is not a lane that pushes particularly aggressively. You know, it's a strong lane, it's very solid, it's difficult to gank, although, as LMQ have already shown, not impossible. Big Pomelo.
And they decided they didn't want to go for the fast push here. You know, they didn't go for the 2-top. They wanted to punish this lane, but we look down the CS values. I mean, Vayne is even in this lane, so no punishment whatsoever coming out from OMG just yet.
No, and that nicely timed gank from No Name, probably facilitating the fact that it is even here. Avenger more than happy with this outcome right now. You can see Sun returned after being dead. Got a Tear of the Goddess now as well, so going to be building up towards that Moonlighter down the bottom here. Avenger getting quite low there as the silence comes out for Big Pomelo, and a nice Aqua Prison. Actually, Blitzcrank could be in trouble. The True Chop run coming in as Defenders force a flash, but a great condemning now. Jarvan coming through as well. Big Pomelo likely in a lot of trouble here. The knockup looking for Sun. A great Cataclysm there traps Ezreal in, and that should be the extra one there. The Tidal Wave coming through as Vayne picks up the double kill, and once again, No Name perfect timing on that Jarvan gank.
And for once, that pesky Ezreal, he had flash available, he arcane shifted, but the Cataclysm was massive, and now the snowball's on for bot lane.
And really, if there's one AD carry you really hate to give Snowball to, it's probably someone like Vayne here. Xiao going to take a little bit of poke here from Orianna, actually just missing there. Although Xiao actually burns his flash, I think a little afraid that he was going to get himself killed. In fact, Lovely now going to come through, the Q missing there as well, but he flashes forward, kicks him in the face after throwing out his Z, and takes quite a few resources there for Loveland, but he does pick up the kill.
Nice map movement from OMG there. To pick up at least a kill to put them on the board, but they have a lot of worries in bot lane because whenever Blitzcrank is behind, whenever they can't feel like they can confidently go for a hook, if that hook pressure isn't there, which of course Big Pomelo has used that psychology of always looking for a hook early to his advantage, Blitzcrank lanes really struggle.
Yeah, I mean, it's One of those things where it feels great when you're ahead and just awful when you're behind. And right now, Big Pomelo, I don't think he's sure where he is right now, but he's not particularly happy with what's going on. Interestingly enough, there's actually a very sparse gold lead between these two teams, despite the fact that, if I recall correctly, no global objectives have been claimed yet. So just on a strength of some decent CS here, despite being 2 kills behind, OMG are actually only 2 300 gold behind here.
Yep, as you point out. 3 kills to 1, but no objectives taken means that it's just a very, very small lead.
Yep, Renekton in the top there with some good CS. The mid there as well, as Orianna continues to outfarm Karthus, and more or less even here in the bottom lane. I guess the thing is, if we move through towards the mid game here, I think OMG, especially with a pick like Blitz, they really don't do as well if they don't have those early towers down. And I guess that's why it's kind of shocking to me almost that they're playing a very different game. It's almost like they're preparing for 3.10 early as Cool here in the mid, forced to flash out from that one. Noname again with some great pressure.
Very nice. Here's LMQ trying to take exclusive Dragon Vision.
Will do so here as Nami cleans that one up. That ward getting cleaned out there as well. Big Pomelo looking for a grab, but not going to quite find it over the ridge there.
Just noting the very early Rod of Ages coming out from Karthus. Had it before 11 minutes, I believe.
So that'll be charged at the very reasonably rare 20-ish minute mark, or 21 minute mark, so that's very nice there. Looks like top lane here. Dreams really wants to go in there. Activates Desperate Power. No, he did not. Actually, sorry, he did, but it wore off. My apologies. Getting a bit of extra speed there, trying to chase after going and Renekton. Somehow, I mean, I would say struggling, but he's actually pretty far ahead in CS. But Dream seems to be getting the better of a lot of these trades, funnily enough.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter so much if there's such a big discrepancy in CS. 25 CS at 12 minutes is a huge advantage for going.
In fact, Dreams may have to be careful here. I may have spoke too soon. Renekton looking good now. He's got his ultimate and his ignite and his flash. This could be potentially quite the tower dive. I guess Dreams with the range advantages down the bottom lane. Cataclysm comes out. Arcane shift out of that one. Big Pomelo, they're taking a lot of damage there. And Avenger going to clean up that kill. The Requiem coming in as well. A good Aqua Prison there as Loveland's forced a W out of the way from that one. And once again, that pressure from Karthus' ultimate and really great pressure from Noname convert yet another kill in the bottom lane for LMQ.
Yeah, the Requiem's hitting for a lot of damage with such an early Rite of Ages along with the Doran's Ring here. Karthus is going to be a scary, scary proposition at 20 minutes.
Yeah. Now Loveland rotating up towards the Dragon, maybe thinking about going for that one, but Cool, who showed presence down the bottom lane to dissuade any more tower diving potentially. Forced to run back towards the mid, and Karthus, of course, really just pushing the farm. Still, impressively, Orianna's ahead on CS by a couple, but I mean, he's still picking up kills where it matters. He's 1-1-0, and of course, he hasn't left his lane yet, so always frustrating against the Karthus here. Noname going to pick up his red buff now as well. He'll happily take that one away, and I don't know.
You're talking about that, you were alluding to patch 3.10 coming early. At 13 minutes, having no global objectives whatsoever going down, be interesting to see if this is indeed the true preview of 3.10.
Yeah, I mean,
this is from OMG, of course, the kings of taking global objectives.
That's exactly what I was going to say. This is not the OMG we're used to seeing, and I don't know if it's... I'm not sure what it is. I honestly couldn't tell you. I mean, the gold lead's still very slim between these two teams, given that there has been no global gold given. That's really what gives those, you know, in 1,000 gold trunks or so, gives a nice lead. Looks like LMG actually had that pink ward down for a while. Finally all grouped together in a spot where Go-Going's down here.
The global objectives.
600 gold now up for OMG. Still very much less than 1,000 between the two, but a global objective finally gets taken. Now Dragon at just under 14 minutes is the first objective to fall here. That's very, very late, especially again for a team like OMG. I guess Papa Smithy is, if this keeps happening, if they're just going to have an extended landing phase, which team actually wins come the mid-game?
I mean, mid-game, it might just be OMG at the front, just because Renekton hits his stride in the mid-game. Orianna becomes very, very strong in the mid-game. Lee Sin is still a damage and appeal threat, but I mean, once it hits late game, once Ryze and Karthus start to tick up here, I mean, Ryze, Karthus, Vayne is the combo IG had in the game where we were talking about how strong they were late game. They couldn't do it against Positive Energy that day, who had a very similar comp to OMG. So I think in the late game, the damage potential is definitely with LMQ, but that doesn't discount the fact that we have a pretty maneuverable, pretty high mobility team coming out from OMG.
And I think for me, a lot of it hinges on Cool here. He's got great CS here from the mid lane and Orianna. When we watched that game, you referenced the PEIG game, a lot of that was on how strong Orianna was. And really, I mean, she's a teamfight general. She controls the ebb and flow of teamfights. And if you can put the ball in the right spots and always be doing something for your team, and you do so much as Orianna if you know what you're doing, then I think that's really going to be the linchpin of this comp here for LMG. So, Cool, he's doing well in lane, he's having a decent time. Looks like Orianna hold, speaking of, going to go into Zhao Wei Zhao, and that's a very clean dive there. And all of a sudden, Renekton just shows up towards the mid lane, and that's a very dead card. That's a good grab there as well. No name though, pretty happy with that Avenger going forward there. Big Pomelo gets completely caught in the Cataclysm plus Tidal Wave combination, and nowhere to run there. Even has the neat interaction of being able to condemn you into the Cataclysm terrain, so very
what
cute.
Can we say about this trade of turrets, this trade of kills pastry time? The mid turret is down for LMQ, and that is where OMG do their best work.
Yeah, especially with a pick like Blitz here. OMG cannot be happier to make that trade. And that's the first objective falling. But LMQ haven't even taken the tower yet. Working on the bottom one still. They do take it out now as the minions do the last little bit of work here. But LMG are a team, you don't need to give them much for them to really just get ahead and crush you. And I think the last thing you'd ever want to give, if you give one objective only, I think giving up mid turret's probably the last one you want it to be.
They're just so good with these pick comps, and Blitzcrank, he's the pick champion. So the aggressive wards will come out soon. The oracles, I imagine, either been bought or will be bought very shortly. And yep, we see Loveland here rocking the oracles.
Loveland's ready to go. He's got his sight turn, he's got his mages. Doesn't need much more than that. Gonna clear out there as well. Oriana whiffs there after the flash. Looks like No Name has to get out of that one on Jarvan. So cool, happily uses that cooldown for a flash. And there's the top tower going down as well. Going. Really dominating lane presence there up against Ryze. Managed to just slowly but surely grind away on that tower. And that's going to be a couple of objectives very quickly here for OMG. And now, as you said, the movement really begins for this team. I mean, look at Big Pomelo. He's in his element right now. He's not stuck in bottom lane, not babysitting San. Rolling around as Blitzcrank in the Piltover custom skin. He's ready to hook some people.
And we see San is in fact down the bottom lane, all on his lonesome, trying to answer the turret here.
Going a little aggressive here. There's 4 members of LMQ actually. Big Pomelo though comes in, ready to hook some people. And OMG going to try the 3-man turret defense here. Oriana actually quite aggressively pushing in towards that mid turret with blue buff. Able to clear pretty quickly there. The outer turret in the bottom is going to go down as well. Going getting quite aggressive. Actually pops his ultimate. Big Pomelo finds the hook on a no-name. The Cataclysm, he gets kicked out of it by Loveland. Now the Requiem's going to come through as well. That was a beautiful play there from OMG. Although Big Pomelo face checks Dreams, force a flash out of the way there, but gets himself out of trouble. Loveland throwing out a kick there. The tier 2 turret in mid's gone there as well. And LMG very confident in their 3-man defense, do amazing things against 4 members of LMQ.
That was some ping pong on Jarvan there. He must have felt violated, being moved all over the map, but paid for it with his life. The Requiem wasn't enough. OMG really liked that lead they could pick up there. 4 turrets now for OMG.
Yep, top turret going to go down.
Out of nowhere, pastry time.
Yeah, I mean, OMG, it's funny, right? We talked about this isn't the team we're used to, and then all of a sudden they're like, oh, we got 1 mid turret, let's get 3 more. And I mean, really, OMG, as you said, quite probably the best objective-based team in China. And showing why there, that was some very strong presence of my life. It's not every day that you see 4 members of the enemy team look at Blitzcrank, Oriana, Lee Sin, and say, we're good.
But they did, and they even won the consequent skirmish, which I don't want to say calculated. I think there was an element of luck there, but they'll take it.
I mean, just kind of looking at LMQ's comp, I think the siege isn't really there for LMQ, and I think OMG kind of exploited that there. I mean, they clearly left Oriana and Sun in the mid and bot there, knowing that they could likely defend there. And I agree, there was certainly some luck in there, though I'll give Pomelo credit at least for that big hook there on Jarvan, which was very nice as always. But I think they just recognize that LMQ don't really have a good way to siege down turrets. I mean, they've got Jarvan. If they start a push, they push very quickly, but they don't really have a good way to get onto a turret that's being protected, and OMG, I think, were confident in their ability to do so, and obviously paid up big for them. They only lost a turret. They picked up 2 in exchange, including the tier 2 in mid.
It's worth noting here, no Spirit Stone item coming out for Jarvan here, as we see Lee Sin taking some damage.
Loveland there, safeguards away, but still gets himself condemned. There's a blue buff grab there as well. Cool, maybe going to take this one out. Big Pomelo going to try and make it happen. Jarvan gets in there, but I believe that was smited off by Lee Sin, so Loveland's going to have that blue buff. Just stealing it away from Karthus. Quite important to make sure Xiao doesn't get access to that buff.
But no Spirit of the Ancient Golem for Jarvan. He's very squishy at present. I mean, their modus operandum for fights here is to maybe the flash EQ, the EQ Cataclysm, whatever they can do. Jarvan needs to do a lot of heavy lifting for LMQ to start fights, and then Karthus will probably flash in and try and get his grave on a really advantageous position. But Jarvan is super squishy at this point.
Well, what was the one thing you said when we kind of saw these 2 comps match up against each other in the other game? Karthus is very immobile, and really, if he's a big part of their damage, then it could be difficult for LMQ to start something, especially, as you said, if Jarvan has to do so much lifting here.
And just not the build to have that 500 health from the Spirit of the Ancient Golem, not the build to be able to live through any AoE damage. And there's still a lot of blatant damage on this OMG side. You still have Renekton, who does a lot of base damage. He doesn't need to itemize for damage. So I'm a bit worried just purely from how weak Jarvan is at the moment.
Oh, Avenger massively chunked there as well. In fact, Cool gonna pick up this killer. Avenger, probably good night here. Barrier pop the good blade of the Ruin King as well. In fact, Cool just gonna get out there as the lifesteal manages to keep Avenger alive. Those creeps came at a very opportune time, but Orianna without the Rabadons looks very strong against Vayne here. Have a funny feeling that she may have enough gold to finish that item now. And there it is, Rabadon's Death Cup up for Cool. If OMG needed a signal that they should group together and maybe start a fight, I think that's probably it.
And I guess the only thing that's stopping them from having their complete mid-game kick here is the lack of Iceborne Gauntlet on the Ezreal side. He has gone for the Bilgewater here. Eventual Blade of the Ruin King coming out, but the Gauntlet will be the last piece of the puzzle for OMG's comp.
Couldn't agree more, and it'll be interesting to see now that Ezreal's actually going back here. San, what is he going to pick up here? How much gold does he actually have? I mean, a good amount of global gold in the hands here.
Nah, not enough for the recipe yet.
Close, but no cigar. That picks up Glacial Shroud and very, very close to that key item, as you said here. Really just puts the blue Ezreal build together, and especially in a comp that, again, based on high mobility, based on kiting the enemy, blue Ezreal is exactly what you want in that situation, but he needs that key item first here.
I see No Name's taking it on himself to pick up the Oracles here, which just delays his build further pastry time, but they do need to have that ward advantage just so they don't get picked off by the Blitzcrank.
Yeah, I mean, Big Pomelo, he kind of permanently gets an Oracles once he leaves his lane. You saw him before in the last game when we saw him play Blitz. He just happily hanged around Baron for 10 minutes, just cleaning out wards. He knew that it was his job. If he ever found a hook, he could grab it and then go from there. And I mean,
just not quite the mobility boots to complete the turbo Blitzcrank.
No, I'm sure they're coming, but he had priorities here. Got to finish his Ruby Sidestone, which he's done. Again, going to clear out these wards. And with OMG, they're happy in this spot here. I mean, at all times, LMQ have to be afraid of Pomelo's Blitzcrank at this spot. And Dream's actually down the bottom lane here. They can maybe start something lovely and get a look for Avenger. He's revealing them off. They kicks him back to Gagon with a great flash stun there to follow things up. The Requiem coming in as well. The Tidal Wave in there. Now Avenger trying to get out of the way. Big Pomelo there coming in with the silence to try and make it happen. Now the True Shot Barrage follows in there as well. And LMQ completely caught out of position here in this one. There's Cool rotating up as well. No Name's going to get picked off here by Lee Sin. Actually gets stunned on the end of it there, and Big Pomelo just walks in and power fists him in the back to pick off Jarvan there. A 3-for-0 fight with Vayne a little too far forward for that one.
It's great map movement from OMG. They might even go on to Baron here.
Wouldn't be a bad idea. Baron looks pretty open. The mini waves aren't quite pushing to get some turret damage done, so it looks like they have decided on that objective next. And LMQ, maybe they can make something happen here, but I don't think Rising Karthus have too much of a chance on this Baron, and the death timers aren't quite going to line up, despite being quite short here. And that is going to be Baron for OMG.
And if they aren't spotted by that top ward there, it's just so hard to come and contest a Baron against a Blitzcrank pastry time. The Oracles proving its weight in gold for Big Pomelo.
Pomelo continues his trend of those aggressive Oracles. Just moving through, you can see even now, just moving through the brushes before he recalls, just to make sure they have exclusive vision of the areas they want. And it's little things like that that really add up for support players, and there's a key item finished on Sun. That was without Iceborne Gauntlet on Ezreal for OMG, with Vayne just kind of getting picked off there. If OMG force a 5v5 right now, with Baron buff, with Iceborne completed, with Orianna with great items, LMQ are looking to be in a lot of trouble here.
Worth mentioning that the Rod of Ages is completely stacked up from Karthus, and he has the Zhonya's Hourglass now. So if the fight is completely forced on top of his grave, he'll be putting out a lot of damage and deceptively tanky.
It's just a kind of chances of that happening thing, I guess. OMG, as we said, they have the highly mobile comp here, which, when we saw this last time, was enough to outplay a very, very farmed Karthus here. So, they're happy in their position. They've carved a nice lead here. I mean, it took a little longer than it usually does for OMG, but I managed to get there in the end. He's going to hook this blue over as well. Happily steal that one away. That's going to go over to Cool. I mean, Big Pomelo really knows all the tricks on Blitzcrank.
He definitely does, and they have the timers down to a T to deny that blue buff away from Karthus.
And just looking down the items for Renekton, still looking good there. Hex Drink, a Sunfire Cape. Probably quite a bit of gold to spend there for going, actually. Blade of the Ruin King, Static Shift finished up for Vayne now as well. I think really the biggest story here is, as you mentioned, Jarvan just has no gold at all for LMQ.
He's been picking up those Oracles space time. He doesn't even have a locket, which, you know, I believe 1900 gold is a very, very cheap option.
Yeah, unfortunately at this point, 25 minutes in, Jarvan just looking a little raw here. So they're going to pick up blue buff for himself now, so double blue out on OMG as well. That's very, very good for their team. And if there was ever a time here, it's Big Pomelo's preparing the push, like clearing out a bunch of wards. I think we're going to see Orianna Ezreal rotate towards the top side here, and oh, we got red buff as well. San with double buffs now, using True Shot Barrage to get the buff that Cool started for him. That's some very cute team play there for OMG. I mean, this is it.
Trusting in your team.
Yeah, this is OMG's time to push. Absolutely, it's go time right now. Push the big red button and we'll see what happens here. In LMQ, they have to weather quite the storm here.
Yeah, for once, Ryze in a decent position here. He doesn't have that Seraph's Embrace yet, but the Rod of Ages at least completed. Not quite as denied as some of the recent Ryzes we've seen, but will that be strong enough to stand in a fight and really stand an answer?
Look at the positioning here from OMG, going on the left side there, ready to pounce in. Big Pomelo there looking for the hook on the other side here, and San is casually potent, gets grabbed up, but Orianna Ball comes in immediately, grabbed there onto Nami. That's not good news. Cataclysm in the back as well, but No Name's forced a flash out. Going immediately goes in there, so deep there, and Cool picks up the kill into Jarvan. True Shot Barrage not going to pick up Ryze in there as well. Now Loveland's looking forward, he kicks Bane, but doesn't quite get the damage done. The tower though will go down instead. The protection there for Loveland as the shield comes out. A grab on a Carthage cancels the Requiem from Big Pomelo. And there Cool cleans up the kill as well. Now, nope, never mind. No Requiem, it's on cooldown. And that's got to be frustrating for Xiao Zhao.
Yeah, it was used just there, Pastry Time. That was after the fact, but still, Carthage dies.
And still, OMG continue pushing down the mid turret here. Going to push down this mid inhibitor as well. I mean, at this point, they were number one in the spring LPL, looking very good here in the summer. We are kind of still early here in the Tencent LPL, but OMG, no matter how they play, I mean, you know, they usually play at top speed. They took a little longer to get off the ground here, but I don't know what they can do here. Another great grab and Anami is going to be the kill. And
is the answer the Blitzcrank ban? We've seen Big Pomelo do just fine on other champions, but Blitzcrank, it seems to be his comfort champion, and of course, they're such a good team at grabbing those objectives. If they're going to get the mid turret down, Big Pomelo's just going to be able to start up Hook City, so I can see the Blitzcrank ban potentially coming out. I mean, there's just little things about the way they play. I think the one thing that could be taken away from this game is for other teams to review the start of this game and see how to control OMG, at least in the first 10 minutes of the game. Because for 13 minutes or so, before that first dragon came down, I felt like LMQ were right in this game.
Yeah, I mean, it could be a whole new world come next week as well, so we'll have to see how the teams adapt to some fairly dramatic changes on 3.10.
Good point.
I mean, OMG, they've looked so good here, as you said, playing Season 3 League of Legends. Season 3 is about to change, but not today here for OMG, and they're in an absolutely dominating position against LMQ.
They look to open up a 2-win advantage at the top of the table here. They win today 11-1 from those 12 games, just so strong.
See Nami, they're trying to clear out some of the wards. Just trying to create some space. Oh, Big Pomelo is at it again. I don't think he can kill Nami, but just saying, hey, this is my jungle. This is my map. It's my job to ward, not yours. And if I ever see you, I'm gonna grab you. In fact, oh no, Nami now wrong spot, but I think it's gonna be okay. True Shot Barrage looking for it. Nami hook, not quite coming out. Sorry, Blitz hook, not Nami hook. That'd be a little silly.
Well, the bubble's still a very strong ability. She can't feel too bad.
It's certainly a pretty good Q. And Sai now bladed the Rune King up as well. And the Muramana finished up as well. Avenger here takes a nice missing shot to the face. And OMG at this point. Orianna's coming on, Big Pomelo's coming back as well. Might just be a matter of time here in this game.
The gold graph, if we ever do see the gold version in the game, is Nami deleted from the map.
It could be bad news there. San over the top. There's Blade of the Rune King and Mystic Shot. Arcane Shift out from under the bubble as well. Smooth moves there from San to clean up that kill. And poor Nami. I mean, I almost think that Big Pomelo plays Blitzcrank in direct counter to Nami, because we've seen him play Nami. It's another champion that suits his style, but I think when you're playing up against champions like Nami, I mean, there aren't many grab targets on LMQ, but when you're as accurate as Big Pomelo with Rocket Grab, it doesn't seem to matter.
Absolutely, I agree 100%.
Now OMG going to get on this inhibitor turret down towards the bottom side of the map. San here just chilling. There's plenty of shields here as well from OMG. Grabs on the Carthage, don't even care. Good zonies there. Orianna will actually prevent No Name and Dreams. The True Shot Barrage in there as well as San picks up a kill. Lee Sin with the second one in there as well onto Jarvan. Going in the back, going absolutely ham. And there's just so much damage here for OMG. Looks like Go-Going could be in trouble. The Hex Drinker pops, so Avenger very low as well. Loveland going deep. They're trying to pick him up. And there's a grab actually as Avenger does pick up the kill onto Lee Sin. Big Pomelo's going to go down as well. But everybody diving forward there. Barrier not nearly enough as San picks up the last kill. Sorry, as Cool picks up the last kill, and I think that's the game here for LMQ. OMG, another dominating performance here. Big Pommer's blitzcrank one more time. Coming up absolutely massive here. And I believe, as you said, 11-1, now 12-1 here in the LPL Summer.
No, 11-1 with this one.
Okay.
And we are 12 games in now. Everyone has played 12 times, and as the standings look right now, 11-1, very comfortable leaders are OMG. Of course, Positive Energy dropped a game today, end the day 9-3. World Elite here. Oh, I tell a lie. World Elite still to play in the next game, so we'll have to wait and see for that one.
Yep, they are up as our last game, of course. If you'd like to catch this or any of the other games you may have missed, feel free to head over to youtube.com/LOLChamp-series, where you can catch all the VOD coverage here for the Tencent LPL Summer. Week 4, Day 3, almost in the books. We've got Royal versus World Elite coming up after this. Make sure to catch that game 4, and we'll see you later.